Hello everyone, Solus Scientist here again. This was a big week for Battleborn because the second free PvP mode Supercharge was finally released. In this video, we'll be going over everything you need to know about Supercharge, as well as some team compositions and heroes that might help. So, Supercharge is a 3v3 Meltdown capture hybrid with accelerated XP gain. You will find it in the mini-match queue alongside 3v3 variants of Incursion, Meltdown, Capture, and Face-Off. Now, broadly speaking, Supercharge is a two-lane mode like Meltdown. Waves of minions march down one lane to the grinder, but the other lane has a capture point called the Supercharger. The team that controls the Supercharger when a new wave spawns will have a Shepherd unit alongside the two small minions that spawn normally. This does two things. One, it makes the wave stronger because of the periodic overshield given by the Shepherd unit, and two, it increases the total point value of the wave should it reach the grinder. The small minions are each worth 10 points, the Shepherd is 20, a giant minion is 30, and the first team to 400 points, or the highest score after 15 minutes wins. Now, it may sound like you can just play Supercharge like you would Meltdown, but there are some important differences between the two modes that you need to be aware of. Each map only has one giant minion buildable node in a central location. Also, its base cost is 800 shards instead of the normal 600 you might be used to. So if that's what you're going to do, make sure you're going to the right place, and make sure you have enough to buy it. Now, unlike Meltdown specifically, minion paths do not intersect, so you may have to choose between destroying the enemy team's minions and protecting your own. That is not the only choice you'll have to make in Supercharge, because unlike any other mode, shard clusters will spawn alongside the very first wave of minions. This of course means there will be plenty of shards for buildables and gear, but at the start, the choice to gather shards, attempt to capture the Supercharger, or deal with minions may be important to gaining an early advantage. Supercharge takes place on three brand new maps: Ziggurat, Permafrost, and Horizon. So let's talk about what makes each map different and, where applicable, some characters you might want to consider using. Ziggurat is the medium-sized map. It has 4 shard clusters and is the most balanced for all styles of play. Each side of the minion lane does have its own accelerator, and there is one thumper turret at the grinders. Due to the largely flat nature of this map, having a Marquis, Thorn, or Toby on your team could take advantage of long sightlines. This is also probably the most general defender-friendly map due to the lack of verticality, so characters without an escape skill like Galt and Ernest might be worth considering, especially if you have someone playing support. Permafrost is both the largest map and the one with the most verticality. Now, unlike the other two maps, it has 5 shard clusters instead of the normal 4. Each side of the minion lane has its own accelerator, but unlike Ziggurat, Permafrost has 2 thumper turrets, one at the grinders and one at the Supercharger. Controlling the turret at the Supercharger will be both an extra damage source and a nuisance to the enemy team, so if there is a Supercharge map where turret control is key, it is definitely Permafrost. If you're playing as a character without a mobility skill, it's uphill from the grinders to the Supercharger, so you'll have to take the long way around. A turret under your control could be a useful tool in your team's absence. Now, of course, that doesn't mean you should neglect the turret at the grinders either. Just the sheer size of the map, in addition to the verticality, you're going to want to make sure you have as much automated DPS wherever you can get it. The verticality on Permafrost makes highly mobile characters advantageous choices. If you're playing an attacker, consider using Benedict, Melka, or Phoebe. If you're playing a defender, Isaac or Atticus would be a good choice. Horizon is the smallest map. It has 4 shard clusters, some verticality, 1 accelerator on each side of the minion lane, and 2 thumper turrets, 1 at each grinder. Unlike the other two maps, the grinders on Horizon are on opposite sides. This means the enemy grinder is closer to your base, which makes grinder defense easier, but requires a more aggressive approach to score. Also, unlike the other two maps, the Supercharger is at the very center. Characters with high mobility like the aforementioned recommendations for Permafrost may be good choices for Horizon as well, but I think characters with cloaking abilities, and counters, are worth considering due to the small map size. So Deandy, Oscar Mike, Pendles, Shane and Orox, Umbra, and Arendi could all prove to be useful. I don't really have any specific recommendations for support characters because I think it's more of a choice based on player skill than a choice made in response to the map. So if you have a friend that can keep you alive, bring them with you. In general, the best team composition for Supercharge will probably be the holy RPG trinity of attacker, defender, and support. Now, if you're going to make a substitution, it would probably be to replace the defender with another attacker. I suppose you could technically run without a support, but for me at least, that is not a risk I would take lightly. In the next video, we're going to talk about one of two things. The first is Battleborn's competitive multiplayer being made available to everyone for free forever, And the second, for those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, is why I haven't uploaded for the past 7 months, and where the channel is headed now that Battleborn has entered year 2. So until next time, thank you very much for watching.